Hello, welcome to Salt and Light Canning. I'm Jessica and this is my kitchen. I'm happy that you're here. Today I am making a small batch of plum jam. Have some little plums here from my family's tree, and the birds and the squirrels were eating the fruit, so we picked it. And I'm going to make some jam with this little bit of plums that I have. Plums are one of my favorites for jam. I absolutely love plum jam. This is a really easy recipe. I am measuring because my pectin requires 1 cup fruit, 1 cup sugar, 1 tablespoon of pectin, and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So, that being the case, I need to measure and see how much fruit I have. Let me know in the comments what you've been canning, what wonderful things are coming in from your harvest. I love to know. So exciting. But yep, this is what I'm doing today. Just making some jam. And I just love having jam on the shelf. It's a wonderful gift. And because, I mean, with the amount of jam I make, we could never eat all that. But it's a wonderful gift. And also, you know, it doesn't have to just be like sweet jam for toast. You can also turn jam into like a glaze for meat or a dipping sauce. Lots of wonderful things. I've made jam cakes or cookies. There's lots of options. So don't just think, oh, it's jam for toast. Think outside the box. See what else you could do. Especially right now with fruit coming in. Anyways, I'm going to get this little bit of plums cut up and we'll see how much we've got. So I have 10 cups of fruit in this pot. It's a smaller pot, it's a smaller batch. It's all good. I'm going to get my stove turned on and bring my fruit to a boil. This is going to take a minute or 2 or 3. I'm going to immersion blend my fruit. You don't have to. You can leave it very chunky. You can put it in a regular blender. You can put it through your food mill. You can use a potato masher. Whatever you want to do, it's perfectly fine. I have an immersion blender, so I'm going to use it. All right, my fruit is boiling. It's not quite at a boil that I can't stir down, so I'm just going to keep stirring and watching it. Don't leave your jam. Jam goes really quickly, but it's not something that you can walk away from. Okay, my fruit's boiling, so I'm going to watch my kitchen clock here, and I'm going to wait for at least a minute, maybe 2, while my fruit boils. So for jam, it's really important. You want to give it enough heat and enough time so that it sets. If you don't, then it might not set, which is not a bad thing, okay? Please don't think that just because you have runny jam that it's a terrible thing. It's not. It's not a loss. It just means that maybe you can't spread it on toast. That's all right. You can still use it for like syrup for pancakes and it tastes good. So don't stress about it. It's been a little over a minute. I'm going to add my lemon juice and I'm going to add my pectin. Now while you add your pectin, just kind of sprinkle it in, keep stirring so it doesn't get all clumpy. Now just keep stirring and make sure that that gets really well incorporated. All right, once your pectin's mixed in, once your pectin is mixed in, try to say that 5 times fast, you're going to bring it back to a boil, and you're going to let it boil for at least a minute. And depending, if you have a larger batch of jam, you might need to let it boil for 2 or 3 minutes. Now, absolutely, if you didn't want to add pectin, you can just make like a preserve and just do fruit and sugar and maybe a little lemon juice for acidity and just cook it down. And that is perfectly fine too. We are back to a boil that I can't stir down, so I'm going to watch my clock again for at least a minute. And again, that's just to make sure your pectin sets really, really well. Now, my jam has been boiling for about 2 minutes. I'm going to add my sugar. And with jam, you know I say it all the time, you add your sugar all at once. Now you're going to want to bring it back to a boil that you can't stir down for at least a minute after you add your sugar. And really, really don't walk away from your jam. Otherwise, it'll expand and bubble all over the place and all over your stove and all over the floor. And you're trying to keep your dog from hurting themselves because they want to eat it because it went on the floor and all you did was go to answer the door. So don't do that. Take my word for it. It's just an awful hot mess and you don't want to do that. And for me, I never skim my jam. I just don't. If you want to, you can, to reduce the foam. Personally, I just add a little pat of butter and that will take care of all of your foam issues. This is just beautiful jam. I always love the way jam looks, always. It's just gorgeous. And plum jam happens to be my favorite. You'll have to let me know what's your favorite kind of jam. All right, I'm at a boil that I can't stir down. So now I'm gonna watch my clock for at least a minute. I have a couple spoons in the freezer, so I'm gonna grab one and we're gonna check our set. Oh yes. That's what you wanna see. You wanna see it coat the frozen spoon and be slow to drip. You can tell even, like I can tell just when I'm stirring it that it's gonna set really well. Let me taste my jam. Always taste your jam. It's very important. That is really, really good. So now I'm gonna get set up over on the other counter and we will start filling jars. All right, have my jars. This is liquid. I'm not gonna worry about debubbling. If I had more chunks of fruit, I would. And I'm gonna fill to as close to 1/4 inch of headspace as I can get. Just do the best you can. And wipe the rim of my jar. I just have some white vinegar in a paper towel. Line up my lid. Put on the ring just to fingertip tight. Jam is so pretty. Love it. Fill up the next jar. I am not pressure canning my jam. I am water bath canning my jam, but I'm using my pressure canner. If I use my pressure canner, I can double stack and it doesn't make a mess all over the place. If you're gonna buy a canner, like if you don't have one at all, just buy a pressure canner. You don't need to. You can do everything in your pressure canner. You can only water bath can in your water bath canner. So if you're gonna buy a canner, buy a pressure canner. Check out my link below. All of the stuff that I use is in my Amazon storefront. But anyways, I have my jars in here and they're double stacked. I'm going to turn on the burner. I used hot tap water, and I do have a splash of vinegar. So when I pressure can, when I water bath can in my pressure canner, I don't put the gauge in, I don't put the weight on, and I just set the lid, just set it on there. And I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and I'm going to process these at a boil for 15 minutes. So I'll be back in just a few minutes. So my timer went off, and I turned everything off and took the lid off, and now I'm ready to take them out. Be careful when you take your jars out. Don't tip your jars. Also be careful that you pick them up by the glass and not by the ring. So these are just going to sit here on my counter and relax and seal and have a good night. I just want to say thank you so much, everybody who watches my videos and is interested in what I'm doing in my kitchen. You're a blessing to me. So anyways, don't be afraid to try. Just try. Be so blessed. Know that you're loved. And be a blessing to someone else. I'll see you in the next video.